guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and, well, I think it's about time that I finally do another one of these by far, So yeah, looks like for today, looks like you're in for a massive treat, because here's another big surprise for all of you. Looks like right around earlier today, I actually went ahead and did, well, another double feature this time. So yeah, I think it's quite interesting, of course, that front, because yeah, I've actually done a whole lot of double features for sure, to which, yeah, kind of makes sense, of course, that up front. I just need to pretty much do 2 movies at the same day, just to really ease things down a bit for sure, and honestly, I still really like those as much as pretty much the one thing I've been doing recently for, yeah, pretty much a couple times as of recently, which is doing Thursday screens of course, the latest releases for sure, which I guess it is actually a really great way to, of course, pretty much mix things up a bit for sure, so. But regardless, of course, that front, I went ahead and did another double feature this time, and yes, by the way, it looks like I'm actually going to be talking about pretty much 2 movies, and of course, in its own video for sure, and I guess for the case of this one I'm going to be talking about here today, it is definitely one of them for sure, So yeah, I think you can pretty much get the clear picture, of course, at that front for sure, and, well, it's actually been quite, frankly, pretty much about a few months since after we last talked about one of their latest films for sure, but for the case of today's thoughts video, I think it makes sense to finally talk about them once again for sure. So yeah, I guess for the case of today's thoughts video, we're going to be talking about another film for sure from good old DreamWorks Animation. So yeah, I guess I did make it quite apparent that I did talk about a good number of DreamWorks' movies in the past for sure. Yeah, whether they be good or bad or somewhere in between, I guess for a while it couldn't actually hit the massive mark as, of course, pretty much the mouse for sure. I guess it's safe to say that DreamWorks is definitely one animation studio that I really do admire outside of Disney for sure, and yeah, most of the time their movies can actually be hit or miss for sure, but hey, whatever they can actually give to us for sure, I think I know there might be something interesting for sure, So yeah, and for the case of today's thoughts video, we're definitely talking about one of their movies here today for sure. And given for the fact that I've actually been through quite a whole lot a few months ago when I talked about their last film, Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken, yeah, could this actually be better or worse by far? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out for sure, so yeah. And I guess, if anything, I'm pretty sure we all know what we're talking about here today for sure. Yeah, we're not only going to be talking about the latest film from DreamWorks, but I think it's about time that we finally get around to talking about pretty much the latest movie in one of their well-known film franchises in recent years for sure. Which, yeah, I guess, quite frankly, has garnered a lot of mixed reactions from what I could gather. I mean, really mixed reactions for sure. So yeah, whether you like them or hate them, or maybe I think you're somewhere in between for sure, looks like I think this latest movie we're talking about here today is definitely one of them for sure, So yeah, and in case you don't know what I'm talking about for sure, I'm of course going to be diving into DreamWorks' latest animated film they have officially got out, which is none other than Trolls Band Together. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to be talking about here today. It is, of course, the latest film that DreamWorks has finally got out, but it's also the latest installment in one of their film franchises they've actually been pushing out for sure, which is, of course, the Trolls movies for sure. So yeah. It's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so before I could go ahead and talk about this latest movie, I think it makes sense to talk about, well, the first two Trolls movies for sure, to which, honestly, to me, I think I know as a, probably, I think a little kid, I may or not be aware of course, the popular toy line for sure, to which, yeah, most of my memory is a little bit boggled up, of course, that front, so I may or may not be familiar with the Trolls toy line the movie is based on, but I know when it comes to the movie, yeah, pretty much the Trolls movies, hands down, honestly, I can give DreamWorks credit when they actually made those for sure. They actually did a fine job, and of course, giving them a really nice, colorful redesign for sure, which honestly is actually a welcome change for sure. So when it comes to the movies, pretty much in general for sure, well, I guess I can actually say right now, I actually did manage to, if you may recall, pretty much a couple of years ago, I think I pretty much when I actually did videos from, of course, the late 2010s all the way until earlier this decade, I actually used to do these Stardust app compilation videos where, of course, I pretty much once every pretty much 1 or 2 months, I would actually pretty much compile a whole bunch of reactions on Stardust app into one big video to share with all of you guys for those who couldn't actually afford to download that app, which I still miss by the way, so yeah, and quite frankly, right around a couple of years ago, I did manage to get to see the first two Trolls movies for sure, and yeah, and of course you know exactly what I'm talking about. The first movie, Trolls from 2016, and of course it's a sequel, Trolls World Tour. Yeah, Trolls World Tour that came out a couple pretty much a few years ago in 2020. So yeah. And I guess to give out my short thoughts on the first two films, well, they're basically kids' films. Honestly, I think that's probably the best way I can actually describe the Trolls movies altogether. I do think they're actually movies made for little kids, hands down. Yeah, I think I know, yeah, pretty much something that little kids can enjoy, but for adults, just, yeah, maybe you could be somewhere in between, or pretty much can't stand them, or maybe you think it's just an excuse to entertain your kids for an hour and a half for sure. But that's mainly on what I think, hands down, when it comes to the Trolls movies for sure. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad movies altogether. I know they do have potential, but I just don't think they are giving a proper execution to actually be really great films by all means. So yeah, they're not really that good, but not that bad either for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much my probably the best way I can describe my view on the Trolls movies for sure, to which, yeah, I do know there are some people that may like them a whole lot more, but to me, I just couldn't find the proper way to actually, or find anything that I can like about these films for sure, so yeah. I guess when it comes to, of course, the, pretty much this latest film that just came out, well, I think I knew right away when I saw the trailers. I did have that little mixed reaction in me for sure. Like, it is pretty much all what I'm gonna get with, of course, well, pretty much the previous films for sure, to which, yeah, if you have seen the previous movies for sure, this one is pretty much on the same level as why I'm getting for sure. But then again, it is actually quite interesting that there's this pretty interesting pattern that we're facing for sure, with of course the first movie being released onto the big screen while Trolls World Tour was supposed to be giving a theatrical release, but it's instead released onto a demand due to the COVID-19 pandemic for sure. And now it looks like for this latest one, it's gone back to, of course, being released on the big screen for sure. Does that mean, pretty much, if they confirm a Trolls 4 coming up, that too will be released on demand? I'm quite curious to see how that pattern is gonna go down for sure, so... But yeah, I think it is quite interesting for sure, and I'm really glad they actually decided to put the Trolls back onto the big screen that we actually haven't seen since the first movie for sure, so yeah. But either way, I guess since I knew I was going to be in for a double feature, I am quite curious to see on how that'll go for sure, just to see on how it'll turn out for sure, So yeah, and luckily enough, I did manage to get myself into see pretty much this as one of two movies I actually saw today. Once again, all thanks to the kind people at Crown City Cinemas for helping out. As always, really love what they're doing, especially when I love coming in there for sure. So yeah, I managed to get in there just in time to see this movie, and well, now that I officially got back from, of course, seeing it, what do I think of this movie now that I saw it? Honestly, to me, it is what you expect from, of course, these movies. I do think it's rather mixed, pretty much a rather mixed bag, in my opinion, for sure. But there is surprisingly something that's a little bit different, for sure. Unlike the previous Trolls movies, where I just kind of thought they're decent enough flicks as they are, this one, on the other hand, it is okay at best, but I do personally felt that it is definitely the weakest of course, the Trolls movies by far. Yeah, that's pretty much what I felt entirely after seeing this movie for sure. I do think it's a decent enough flick, but at the same time, it is very, very weak, of course, that front for sure, So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright, I guess I'm done with that, so... Alright, so now that I've actually got the short version out of the way, I think I might as well go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about for sure, So for starters is, of course, the story for, of course, this movie, and honestly, from what I can gather, it does have some good ideas from what it's actually trying to give for sure, but from what I'm actually seeing, I just don't think the story in, of course, this movie is all that more engaging entirely, and it just kind of feels rather forced from, of course, what I can gather for sure, and moreover, I just don't think it's actually properly executing properly from, of course, what I can gather for sure. Like I said, it does have some good ideas on paper, but you need to deliver well, of course, the execution for, of course, the story. And this movie, for while it pretty much does that well on paper, execution-wise, it's not really that good for sure, So yeah, that's of course what I could say for the story from what I could gather. And the writing, I have to say, honestly, that too, I just kind of felt was very lackluster, of course, that front for sure. Pretty much everything from what I'm seeing in terms of the writing, I just don't think it's actually that engaging in my opinion, and it really does do what you expect, like in the previous films for sure. It's almost like it's actually reminding you that it has to be a Trolls movie. And, well, to me, I'm saying, yes, we know it is a Trolls movie. We get it. So, Could you constantly shut up about it? But yeah, that's pretty much what I can gather on my part for sure. I do think that maybe I think it could use a little bit more reworking here and there from what I can gather, because yeah, I just don't think it's actually properly that good for sure. So yeah, and of course let's not forget to mention the comedy and the jokes, I have to say. Honestly, to me, I just don't think it's actually executed that well either, for sure, because if anything, pretty much the comedy and the jokes from what I can gather are not really that funny to me, and yeah, I was left rolling my eyes rather than laughing on the floor for sure. Even the pop culture references, I have to say, are just constantly pretty much either forced way too much, or they're constantly shoved down pretty much their throat a little bit too much for sure. Like, yeah, I think if anything, it's like we're saying, yeah, we get it. Like I said, can you please shut up? But yeah, that's of course why I can gather on, of course, my front for sure. Again, maybe they could have done some stuff to make it all the more impressive for sure. But for this case, not so much in my opinion for sure. So yeah. And this is coming from a whole lot for sure, because yeah, I guess you can make the same argument for, of course, pretty much the previous two films for sure, which is totally understandable, and I do get that for sure, But yeah, that's pretty much what I can say for, of course, all those aspects on, of course, that front for sure. They have some good ideas on paper, but I just don't think they're actually executing properly for sure, So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright. Okay, so now that I've actually got those out of the way, I think I might as well go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about for sure. So for starters is, of course, the characters, and honestly, to me, I think the characters in, of course, this movie, again, it's pretty much what you expecting, of course, the previous Trolls movies for sure, to which, honestly, to me, they're not bad characters by all means. I do think pretty much some of them do shine through for sure, and I guess in the end, I do think they're alright for what they are. Nothing really anything that great by all means, but not terrible from what I can gather for sure. I mean, I couldn't connect with, of course, any of these characters for sure, but I'm pretty sure, again, maybe some little kids might connect with them a whole lot more than I do for sure, So, yeah. And, of course, I can give them credit. They actually got some pretty decent development from, of course, what I can gather for sure, So, yeah. Maybe I think they could have done something to make them all the more interesting, but sadly they unfortunately didn't, and it's pretty much what we're left with for sure. So yeah, like I said, these characters, they're not good, but they're not bad either. I just think they're alright at best for sure. So yeah, and of course, for all the actors that came on board to play all these characters, well, I mean, to be fair, pretty much the majority of them are casting fine for sure, and I think they do give some pretty decent performances from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, again, maybe I think they could have done some things to pretty much really amp up their performances a whole lot more, but from what I'm seeing, I do think they're passable to say the least for sure. So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say for, of course, those two that I can list at the top of my head for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so now that I've actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about with this movie? Well, quite a whole lot for sure. for starters, seeing of how this is a DreamWorks movie, I think it makes sense to talk about the animation. And honestly, to me, if there's one thing that I can say that I actually really do like in any of the Trolls movies, honestly, to me, I do think the animation in here is actually really great by all means, and even in this film it really does do a fine job from, of course, what I've actually seen. Again, I really do love the colorful designs they give to the characters, and even the pretty much the backgrounds and the scenery are actually done very well for sure, just giving off this whole world that has cute and fuzzy from what I can gather. Pretty much almost on the similar lines of, let's say, for example, Yoshi's Woolly World for sure, to which, yeah, I guess to me, I do think it actually is actually pretty much done well for sure. I'm glad this movie did a fine job with its animation for sure, and I really do love the nice sense of color they actually give to pretty much all of that for sure. And even the textures, I have to say, are just absolutely brilliant for sure. Not to mention the visuals and the effects from what I can gather. That too is actually done massively well in my opinion, and it really does give the pretty much this film some really nice colorful lighting to, of course, its animation style, which, yeah, I really do admire, of course, this movie, and it is actually the one redeeming quality that I actually can find for sure. So yeah, that's, of course, all those I can say in terms of the animation for, of course, this movie for sure. So yeah, I guess that's what I can say, of course, on that front. So yeah. And, of course, for the rest, on the other hand, well, I guess from what I can gather, pretty much the direction in this film from the film's director, honestly, it's a little, pretty much a little hard to say on, of course, that front, as I do felt the direction, of course, this film may or may not be on the same standards as most other animated films that I do admire for sure. But again, I'm not saying it's a bag by all means, but I do kind of feel it's a little bit more misdirected from what I can gather for sure. So yeah. And, of course, the cinematography in this film to go alongside the animation, honestly, to me, I do think it is actually shot well from, of course, what I can gather, as it did give off some pretty nice camera shots that actually does work well for sure. And, of course, it's pretty much also with, of course, its aiming, I have to say, that I will admit is kind of alright at best. Nothing really anything that I can actually admire for sure. So, and of course, for this being a Trolls movie, of course, pretty much from what I can gather, it has to incorporate some songs from what I can gather, because, well, for a while, I guess it's kind of expected for sure, seeing of how they are jukebox musicals for sure. Of course, they're gonna have to bring in some song compilations for sure. So yeah, and in the case of this movie, I'm a little half and half with the song choices for sure. Some of them are actually done really good and fit well, while other times I just kind of felt they were pretty much out of place for sure, and doesn't really go well from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say for, of course, that front for sure, which, yeah, I think it's probably the best way I can actually describe everything from what I can gather about this movie for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie for sure. So yeah, overall, Trolls band together, yeah, it is what you expect, like all the other Trolls movies that we got beforehand. I do think it's a rather mixed bag in my opinion, but unlike the previous two films for sure, this is definitely the weakest one out of all these movies for sure. Nothing really about it has got me really hooked on for sure, and for while I do admire some really good stuff they actually put into, of course, this one, I just don't think it's actually really caught my eye for sure. It's nothing really anything that really got me intrigued for sure, and yeah, maybe I think with several adjustments here and there, we could have gotten something a whole lot more great for sure, but unfortunately we didn't for sure. And I do feel bad for DreamWorks as of now, because especially with last year, with both The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish being both really good movies for sure, I do hope they would actually step up their A game and actually start producing some really good movies for sure. But I guess for the case of this year, yeah, it's definitely not DreamWorks' year for sure, and yeah, I do think I do have a lot of high hopes for, of course, them on that front. I mean, really think about this. If Sony Pictures Animation can now finally push out good films since after the first Spider-Verse movie, why can't DreamWorks do the same thing after Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? Well, the answer is very hard to say on that front, so I probably don't know from what I can gather, so hopefully maybe within a matter of time, since after what we've actually got for sure, maybe I think they should actually reconsidering actually put a lot of heart and soul and even care to their future films for sure. But I guess for the case of Trolls Band Together, yeah, it is a mixed bag for me, but I think it's actually one that I think you can actually skip out on for sure, and yeah, I don't think I'll actually be jamming out to that anytime soon. And because of that, folks, yeah, I'm definitely going to say that for my final score, I'm giving Trolls Band Together a 5 out of 10 as my final score, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. And you might be wondering to yourself, and I know I'm going to get a lot of people coming at me saying, why am I constantly complaining about just a simple kids movie? Mainly because, yeah, I think it's because for the fact that if I decide to have children of my own, I want them to, you know, sort of be raised on what I was raised with some really good films that actually have an engaging story, interesting characters, great animation, and some really nice ideas to make them all the more incredible for sure. Which I guess for the case of this film, it's certainly not what we got for sure. So, and is that what we want for today's kids to actually grow up on? I don't think so for sure, so, but yeah, that's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front for sure, so yeah, if you are actually planning on seeing this movie, more power to you, but to me, I don't think I'm gonna be jamming out to this flick anytime soon for sure, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say on, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so I guess on that thought, that's pretty much exactly that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, what do you think of Trolls Band Together if you actually saw it? Do you actually really enjoyed it, or do you absolutely hate it? Or are you like me, that you're somewhere in between, of course, this one? Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comment section below if you've already seen it. I would definitely love to know, So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and, well, tune in next time, as of course, I'm gonna be talking about another movie that I actually got to see, as once again, part of course, my double feature that I did. What you see, you may ask? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out for sure. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427’s to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with SamAttack4427’s, SamAttack4427’s Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, Ackley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyattackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.